Welcome to the Nightly Rant with your hosts, Mike
and Torya.
This is the show where we examine society from a sarcastic point of view.
If you like insane conversations, this is definitely the show for you.
Let's get into today's topic. I started the week off with a scammer phone call.
Exactly. Just as usual.
But you
day.
mentioned something that happened to you today.
Oh,
we were at
I
Dutch
met my
Bros.
dream man. He's a very nice older white man. He's in the military. He has a 5-year-old son.
Wow. It's a good thing we have the guest that we have today, because we're going to dive into a really critical issue that's affecting so many vulnerable people online: romance scams. So today, our guest is Patsy Roach. And she's a dedicated blogger and podcaster, and she specializes in exposing online romance scammers. Patsy is going to shed some light on the tactics that these fraudsters use to deceive older, lonely, and vulnerable women. And ultimately, they'll ask for money and gift cards. What she's doing and what others like her are doing, it's essential because we have to get the word out to help protect people from these scammers. Welcome to the show, Patsy.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here.
Well, and we don't have guests a lot, but we go in like spurts. And when we do, it's lots of fun. And then we go, you know what? We haven't gotten time to talk about this or this. So let's go for a while without guests. But it's fun to have. I love having guests, and especially guests who talk about things like this, because I have a particular affinity towards finding
hatred.
And yes, hatred, finding and exposing these kind of people. I don't have the patience you have, as we spoke before the show. I don't have the patience you have. And I applaud you for the patience that you have. But tell us, like, what got you started down this path?
It's a funny story. Now, first off, I've never been scammed. I've been asked. And I really am not looking for a guy, but curiosity. So in 2016, I was in church. I'm Catholic. And on the back of the bulletin, they had an ad for CatholicMatch.com. I'd never looked into online dating before, so it's more curiosity. And so now nothing really happened there. It was boring and people were mean. So my friend goes, you should try Match.com. I'm like, okay. So I signed up there, and within a couple minutes, I got a couple messages. And the first one that I read was a guy who said he was on a peacekeeping mission somewhere in the world. I don't even remember where. And the first thing I noticed was it was all the kind of love bombing. Oh, you're so beautiful. I can't believe of all the people in St. Louis, the men aren't just like banging down your door. And it was that kind of stuff. And I was just, this is weird. And his emails would be like long emails, and I would respond back with maybe 3 sentences. But he would talk about he's going to retire in 3 months. He'll move anywhere he meets his soulmate. My first thought is, I don't want you moving here if you don't have any friends. You'll smother me. But it was, I learned at work that like 2 days later, I showed my coworker his picture. She goes, is he in the Army? And I go, yeah, how'd you know that? She goes, he's a scammer. So she explained all this.
You met my dream man.
Yeah. And she explained all this to me, and I was like shocked. I'd never heard of this. So I right away Google his picture, and it comes up scammer. So I blasted him in an email saying, I don't ever want to hear from you again. I saw who you really were, blah, blah, blah. And I blocked him. But it kept happening. I went to Our Time, and then I went to the big one, Plenty of Fish, which we call Plenty of Fakes. And I was inundated there with scammers. And I would tell my hairdresser all these stories. And I'm like, I think I need to do a blog about this, because I don't think people's going to believe this stuff that I'm getting. And so I started doing like screenshots, posting them. In 2021, I decided to start a podcast. I took the library online podcast the 6 months prior, and I thought, I'll give it a try. I was interviewed by a lady in St. Louis for the one TV channel here. And I had told her off camera, I'd really like to start a podcast. Oh, you have to. You must. And she gave me a lot of advice, and then she moved away. But I still keep in touch with her. I don't have a lot of guests, but I've had some really good ones. I've had a lawyer who works for the Eastern District of Missouri who worked on this big case in St. Louis of a 81-year-old lady who was used as a money mule, which is they send you money and you keep a portion and you send it to the next person. They sent her electronic equipment to sell so she could send. Ended up only getting probation, but it was like a 4-year case. And everybody went to talk to her, and she just wouldn't listen.
That's the thing that people don't always realize. They always think it's some sort of financial thing at stake, but they don't realize it. Sometimes their whole entire life and their reputation is at stake. The law doesn't care that you didn't know or that you trusted this person. They care that you broke the law. And quite honestly, she got lucky. And that's one of the risks.
There was another lady a couple months after that in another state, because some people will send me articles and stuff. And there was one lady got sent away for 3 years in prison for being a money mule. And there's so many people that don't realize. I always tell them they don't love you. They love your money. Never send money to someone you don't know. Those are the important keys to, if you're on a dating site, people always say, recommend a dating site. I'm not going to recommend a dating site. Do your homework. Check them out. If they don't live within, say, 20, 25 miles of your city, don't waste your time. There's oil rig guys and doctors that work for the United Nations. And my favorite, fake celebrities. I'm a huge Chris Evans fan. Man, I got so many Chris Evans. It's hilarious. I have a good time with them. But I've gotten a ton. I get Prince Faza from Dubai a lot lately. And all mine are actually on Instagram because I have 2 accounts. I have my account, and then I have my alter ego. I am Suzanne Sugarbaker, and from Designing Women. And I am her when I'm talking to these guys. Because in the beginning, I used Patsy, and then later on, I'm like, I don't want to use my name. And I never showed myself, but it wasn't until last fall I started showing myself. I had this old wig from when I dressed up like Garth from Wayne and Garth in the 90s. It was a ratty looking thing. I would put that on with a hat or something. I did buy a new wig a month ago at Party City, so I got a better wig. But it's only when they insist on wanting to see me. I pull the wig out, I put a headband or a hat on, and then I just got to make sure I cover up the pink hair. And then I show myself. Most of the times they don't show themselves. Sometimes they accidentally do, and I can click a screenshot real fast on my phone. Because I post these pictures on my blog if I get pictures of the real dudes that are pretending to be other people. But it's crazy. And the stories and what they do is they tug at your heartstrings because they're going to tell you a sad story. Oh, my mother, like I had one guy a little while ago. Oh, my mother's really sick, and when I just need help, or my kid needs medicine, or my kid's in the hospital.
Yep.
They're always usually widows 95% of the time. Sometimes they're divorced, but it's like the wife either dies of cancer, childbirth, or a car crash. It's always those same 3. And then if they're divorced, it's because she cheated on with his best friend.
Consistent to what I've heard too.
Yeah.
I really think there's somebody out there who teaches them this stuff, though.
Oh, same. You should set. One of my actually, we're very good friends, but she's also a follower, and she got a copy, which I will be glad to email you guys. It's a PDF file. It's called the Nigerian Scammer Playbook, and I'm going to warn you, the grammar is terrible, and that drives me crazy. But I don't change anything. I send it to everybody as it's written. And it gives you like 3 pages of sweet talk. And then it'll say, okay, phase 1, and it's talking about yourself and stuff, and phase 2. And I'm actually trying to upload each page, a series of them on my TikTok. But I also have a Google Drive set up where anybody, I can send you the link. You can go there and grab
awesome.
it. Yeah. So I'm like, hey, the best thing is to get this book out there so people. And the one night I was on a TikTok talking to a scammer live, and I'm reading from the thing. And this guy's, are you like a reporter? You're asking me all these questions. So I changed the whole thing and said, you're on my internet radio show. It's Radio Suzanne. And then I get to be very creative. My thoughts are laughter is always the best medicine. And so when I actually do live conversations on my TikTok lives every night, I'm winging it. When I have my followers will comment, how do you think up this stuff so fast? And I'm like, it's a gift. I don't know. It just starts spewing out of my mouth. And
Torya will always say after the fact, oh my gosh, I should have said this. And then I should have said this. And I should have said this. And then I'm like you. I don't have that problem. They say something. My favorite one to tell people had been investigating like a small business loan for our business. People out there, if you're going to do that, go directly to your bank and do it. Don't be lazy. Like we were lazy. But you put it out there, and it went through a reputable site. But even the reputable site, they sell your information to everybody. So man, 2 years later, I'm still getting these phone calls. So one day I get this call and he says, I have $50,000 for you guys. And I'm like, cool. Here's the thing. I don't need your money. And then he's, what do you mean you don't need the money? I go, what I mean is we're making plenty of money. I don't need your money. And then he's, but don't you understand that you could take this capital and grow with it? Are you too stupid to know that? And I go, no, I'm not the one calling on the phone as a telemarketer trying to sell people on loans, am I? And then he was just like, click. And he hung up. And it's so funny because when you call them right out, they don't know what to say. That's why I say I don't have the patience you have. I could have played that out for a while. And I told one of them one time I wanted $500 million or I couldn't talk to them. And he hangs up because they don't know what to say. But if I had the patience you had, I could drag it out for a while, I'm sure. But I just don't have that patience.
Some of these, now there's like the couple nights, Friday and Saturday were really slow. I'm doing my live and I can't get anybody to talk to me. Normally, you should never, one of the rules is never move off your platform. If you're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, stay there. Don't go to Zanji, Telegram, WhatsApp, Google Chat, because it's encrypted. And it's like when I do Zanji, if I want to, I usually, when I'm done talking, they only get to talk to me usually once, and then I block them. In Zanji, you have the power to clear their conversation with you too, so they can't go back and reference anything. But I don't know if any of the others do that. But Zanji is one that I really like using. I can get away with saying more on there. On TikTok, you are monitored on TikTok, but on Instagram, you got to really watch it because I've gotten in trouble a couple times for.
Stop. You're right. I want one time it took once. And I called somebody on there. I go, you're just a scammer. And 3 hours later, your messaging has been limited for 30 days because you violated our community guidelines. I'm like, okay, holy crap, man. This is around the time when that whole password reset message was prevalent, right? And they'd say, oh, send me the code and you've won a prize. If they can freaking read the word scammer and tag me for, quote, violating their policies, why can't they do the other and deal with it? The answer is they can. They just don't give a damn to try.
Yeah, because I lost my very first Instagram account. And I had that since the beginning, and then I changed everything on it so that it was strictly for Suzanne Sugarbaker. And one night on my TikTok live, it was a month and a half ago, I have a guy on there pretending to be Chris Evans. And I play Fangirl. And then I change and start calling him out. And I think I used the F word too much. And and Instagram. And I don't do that. I'm not that kind of person. But with this guy, it was appropriate. And the thing goes up on Instagram, your account's been suspended. Basically, you do this. You have to prove who you are. So I got to put the damn wig on so I could, because they got to do a video and stuff. I never got that account back, but I had another account already set up. So I started using that. And then I set up a third one in case. It's just, I got to go back out, follow people so that they'll follow me. Like Prince Faz, I went and followed all the Prince Fazes. Now they're coming out of the woodwork. But other guys are now starting to follow me, and the conversation continues.
That's just hilarious. But if you're that sophisticated that you can pull out words and be like, oh, I'm calling you out because you violated our community standards, then how about protecting people from these super common things? I can always tell a scammer on Instagram just from the name that they've chosen.
2 first names.
I can. I
with
always
a bunch
see
of
that.
Numbers.
And a lot of numbers. And then when you look at their account, like she was teasing before about, oh, you recognized a porn star. No, you look at the picture and you go, dude, nobody looks like that except for a porn actress. Let me see let me capture some of these photos. And then I have to delete, and then I have to remember to delete them later because sometimes we travel internationally and I really don't want that on my phone. I do it and I go there and I put it on Google image search, and then I'll screen cap the results because invariably when you confront them, they'll say, no. And I even try to give them an out. I'm not going to say my exact thing that I do, but I ask them for a selfie, and it's a very specific selfie. And it's not a selfie that they could Photoshop, and it's definitely not going to be a selfie that they stole from somewhere else because it's a selfie that only I ask for. And usually that's when I get blocked. be honest.
Well,
But sometimes they'll just send me a selfie.
Guy on Facebook several years ago, he was a retired Army, and he did a live stream the one night, and he said what you do is you ask them to hold up 3 fingers by your face and take a picture. They will do this, they'll do this, and they'll do this, but they can't do this. Now, I had one guy actually do 3 fingers, but it looked funny. I have the Reversey app, so I ran it through there. He found a picture and just added a finger, and I could tell it was a doctored picture. Now, one thing that I do get on occasion is they'll send me a picture of their junk. And
it's the most thrilling thing, right?
Well, one time, a couple of weeks ago, I had a guy, he looked like he was Middle Eastern. He actually showed himself. And he doesn't speak English, but he's like tugging, like wanting me to take my shirt off. I've got the wig and everything on, and I pretend like I'm a dumb blonde, and not to offend blondes. I was a blonde for 15 years. And he's just doing this. Next thing I know, the camera pans down. So I screenshot it. My picture's on the bottom and his is on the top. And so I save it. So the joke now is when I get one of these guys who's messaging me and they're saying something stupid, I go to TikTok. Hey, I got to send them a picture. My one friend from Australia, send him the junk picture. So I send the junk picture. And then they're like, who is that? And I'll say, isn't it you? You sent that to me. That's not me. And it's a whole drawn out, hilarious little skit, you could call it. But then sometimes I'm like, oh, don't look at him. Just look at me. That's me on the bottom of the pic. This poor guy that did this has no idea the mileage I'm getting on that one picture.
Ask you this. Have you ever experienced one of the fake video calls where the equipment malfunctions? Did that happen?
The AI, what's funny is I had a fake Taylor Kinney from Chicago Fire. I get a fake Keanu Reeves all the time. And then
him too.
Yeah, and then another fake Faza. And so they're going to send you a video. And of course, I'm holding it up on TikTok, but I saved the video because I put it out on my blog. The voice is the same, is the same in all of them. Hi, Suzanne. It's very nice to meet you. I'm glad you're my biggest. It's monotone. It's the same voice on all 3 of those videos. And I have them out on my TikTok and my blog, and I think I have them on YouTube. And you could tell I look for the eyes because the eyes don't blink right. The mouth, there's something different about it. Of course, I know what 2 of those men actually sound because I've seen their TV shows or movies. And I share these videos. I hold my phone up to my iPad, and this is what it sounds like.
They're even trickier than that, though, because what they're doing is they're taking someone's like Instagram feed, they're screen recording the video off there. Then they're just editing like a part where they're like setting up their camera, and they're moving around and it's blurry. And then they do the video call with you, but they share their screen. And so then they're showing this video behind there, and then all of a sudden they hang up. And then the next thing you'll get a message that says, oh, I'm sorry, there's something wrong with my phone. It's not working correctly. But you see enough of them that it matches the picture. But the problem is, what they don't know is you can actually screen grab that and still go to Google image search and still find out that it was from that video.
I remember the first time several years ago that I got someone who actually tried to do a video, and it was fake Billy Idol. And so he's playing this video. There's no sound, and and I could tell the video was just so grainy and horrible. And I'm like, you're not Billy Idol. I like Billy Idol. I'm a big fan. But I'm like, you're not Billy Idol. And I see some of those every once in a while, especially with Prince Faza from Dubai. And I think I saw some like that with Keanu Reeves, where they're just showing you it's probably some video they did on an interview, but the voice and stuff just doesn't match. It's crazy.
Oh, and the thing is, go ahead.
So you told us that you had a story that you wanted to share with us.
Oh, this happened last night and today. It was from TikTok. And I got a message Sunday night from someone who said, I'm going to read it to you because I quote terrible. It's, hello, you're absolutely stunning. I love your pictures. And if you would let me, I can use it as a muse for an art project for a client. You will definitely get paid for it as well as a bonus. And then she goes, I'm talking about this profile picture, and it was one of my videos. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's fine. Great. I really look forward to working with you for the painting. I will be doing an oil on canvas 50 centimeters by 50 centimeters portrait painting using your face or one of your posts as my inspired muse reference. For those that don't know, I have pink hair. And then I said, oh, cool, I'm honored. I thought it was crazy. She's, oh, where are you from? I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and a senior painter of La Arts and Organization. I live in St. Louis, Missouri. She showed the video of what she wanted to use, and I'm like, that's fine. And then she goes, now, as for the painting, again, tells me the size and everything, and that I'll be compensated $500. So I'm like, that's fine. So then she goes on to explain it'll be $2,000, but $1,500 she does for oil to buy her supplies, and then 50 will or 500 will go to me. So in the meantime, I screenshot all this and I send it to my friend Antonio Tony Big Boss on TikTok. He has a bunch of businesses, and one of them is an investigation business. And he actually helped me, which is another story I should tell, with one of the DJs in St. Louis who I'm friends with. I send it to him. I go, Tony, it's like a scam to me. And he goes, yeah, he goes, give me a little bit. I'll send it to one of my investigators. And he got back to me really quick. And he said, yeah, my investigator said, stop giving information. Definitely a scam. You want to stay away from, and everybody looks at those pictures real carefully. You can tell they're taken from Google Apps. So he's my go-to for stuff. And so I responded back, oh, I don't really need the money. Why don't you keep it and donate it to your favorite charity? I don't really need it. And then she's, oh, that's nice. She goes, but it will be better if you receive the funds and donate it to whoever you want to. And I said, no, you keep it. Just send me the picture of the canvas when you're done. And then she goes, I'm sorry, but I've had issues like this in the past where I've used people's pictures without proof of payment. And after the art is over, I get sued because the person comes back and then there's no proof of payment. Once bitten, twice shy. Moreover, the money is just a token. So I go, let's talk on the phone, and I give her the app number that I use to talk to scammers. And then she responded before I came on here, okay, so I'm waiting to see if there's going to be a phone call. I've not had a scam like this before. The other story, one thing we do on my TikTok lives, which I also stream on YouTube at the same time, is ladies will send me phone numbers that scammers have given them. I call them on my lives. Now, nobody always answers, but I get a voicemail. And my first spiel I did was like in a terrible Southern accent. Hey there, this here is Suzanne Sugarbaker, and you are one of the top 5 finalists who get the opportunity to be my husband. Give me a call back so we can talk some more. So I did that for a while. And then 2 weeks ago, I think it was Memorial Weekend on a Friday, I got people in the box. We started calling these numbers, getting voicemails, and singing Soft Kitty from Big Bang Theory. And now I'm the first to say I can't carry a tune to save my life. But I would sing it. The people in the box were trying to sing. We sounded like a really bad choir. And then at the end, they would all go, meow. A couple of these were some kind of businesses. And we left a message. And my Tony goes, wouldn't you like to be in the office on Tuesday morning when these people listen to their voicemails and they hear this really sad, pathetic, Soft Kitty song? So we refer to that part of the night as Soft Kitty calls. And anybody is welcome in the box. I have the lyrics typed up, so I hold it if you don't know it. Now, the first time I did a couple weeks ago, which was the Suzanne Sugarbaker spiel, I actually had 2 guys answer, and they were Americans. And so I just start, oh, you're American? Yeah. I go, where do you live? He goes, Florida. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm in Missouri. So I start telling him what we're doing. So he logs on to TikTok. Oh, I found you. I'm going to follow you. And then the same thing happened with another guy. Now, both those videos are out there because when I do my TikToks, I download the live and then I pull out all the scammer conversations so that I can upload them everywhere. I prefer you to come see me live, but if you can't, they're all out there and they're on YouTube. I had the one guy text me back. He goes, you made me laugh so much. He goes, I really appreciate it. I needed a good laugh. He goes, I'm a big fan now. But we do all kinds of crazy stuff. Like when first time I think it was, I was talking to Prince Faza, and he and I were going to get married. And so I brought Tony in, Uncle Tony, and I put my phone next to the iPad and he's talking. And Tony I'll tell you, he's got a voice that's so nice, but it could scare the hell out of you because when he gets like really riled up, it could be scary. And it's amazing how when you're doing this and the scammers they change their tone real quick. If they're afraid of him. When, like the one time, please put Suzanne back on the phone. He goes, no, I have the phone. You're talking to me. We have a couple of those. I'm working on downloading a bunch of the stuff and getting the rest of the videos out. But I will be talking to one and then somebody in the chat will type, bring in Uncle Tony. It's a group effort. There's another girl, Jessica. Bring me in. I'm going to be your niece. Okay, great. You're going to be my niece. And it's very much a collaborative thing that we're doing on TikTok because, and then again, I have some followers that are coming in now regularly on YouTube. I'm trying to get more stuff going there as well. It keeps me busy. I wish I could afford to retire because I could do this all day long. But when you said about having patience, a couple followers would be like, I don't know how you can do this. I don't have patience. And some of them I don't. Some of them I just snap at. When I just want everybody to know, I do not drink, okay? I'm past the drinking days. I have Diet Coke, chocolate, and water. That's my drug right now.
That's funny. Where can our people find you so that they can partake in this hilarious...
On TikTok, it's Pink Lady Against Scammers. But there's clones out there. People are trying to pretend to be me. So look for the one with 30,000 followers. That's really me. On Instagram, it's Patsy the Pink Lady. And then on YouTube, it's Patsy3919. I changed my name last year and I wasn't able to get the thing to change. So if you just type in Patsy3919, it'll come up. And then my blog is also Pink Lady Against Scammers. And then Facebook page, Pink Lady Against Scammers.
Love it.
Awesome. I'm definitely going to go follow you. This sounds hilarious, but I think we're running out of time here. So good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Nightly Rant.
If you enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Google Play.
If you didn't enjoy the show, please just ignore that previous request for a rating.
This has been a Yogi's Podcast Network production.